11, 12, 13, almost 14 straight weeks of downside in Zscaler.
That's a hell of a double top, eh? When neckline break is money. All right, 2 o'clock, guys. PLYX, be on the lookout here. We just had a good trade on that, cutting my negative day in half on this one. But there's the breakout, 689. This one's on the way to 7. It's 92%. I was bitching and complaining that there was no continuation on the small caps. You got one now. It's on the move. Trade it carefully. We're going to Adair at the big desk.
Send you over to the afternoon show, but I do want to let you know this has obviously been an incredibly news-heavy afternoon, and it's going to continue. We do have White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. She's set to start a briefing at 2 p.m. This was not initially on the President Trump calendar for the day. It was added, I think, around 10 or 11 a.m., but now it is, in fact, happening. I'm also hearing furthermore about the conflict in Iran. Reuters reporting that as many as 150 U.S. troops have been wounded, unfortunately, so far in the war in Iran. If we hear anything else, we'll keep you posted. In the meantime, we do have that press briefing to be aware of. It has not yet started, though. Again, it is set to begin at any time now. Back over to Obi and Sean for what should be a very exciting afternoon trading show.
Yo, what's happening?
Back over.
Guys? Definitely very exciting afternoon for sure. Not that much, man.
Looking at that oil trade, weren't we?
Sky is falling. Oil is falling. The market is
here so far
chopping up. But
I feel like it's very choppy right now. I mean, we didn't have that story. That was a crazy one about the Strait of Hormuz there. That some oil tankers were being escorted, then they weren't, and the tweet was deleted. And so, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I know you were shorting it already. We got part of the game late there on that, and we were short 96s there. Good covers. My best cover, looks like 94.50, 94.60. The low was roughly 94. This is USO, remember. We'll talk about crude in a minute if we want to. And then I tried to short it again off the 50 period moving average. That did not work. And then we got the story that it was not correct, and now it's fading back out a little bit there. So I just shorted it technically there, but it was during the news drop, so that was no good. And here, so anyways, that's one win, one loss-ish. And this is what oil looks like right now, down 15%. So it's not getting any nicer around here. But yeah, that made a move down to $77. So what was, of course, it'll be $120 2 days ago is now now $80. So down quite nicely there, about 35-40% from the highs. And I checked the gas prices today, same price. So yeah, there's that. And I know I'm just playing around. I know it takes days to work through the system.
It's moving way too fast for
anyways.
For that.
Interesting. But, welcome back to the afternoon show. The coffee machine is being cleaned there. Ooh, so the lunch administrator told me, he said, Sean, I can email you when it's clean. You got tea in there or coffee?
Green tea.
Okay.
So yeah, I switched over to the green tea. It helps to kind of, it still has the caffeine, but it also has a little bit of calm, so it's like a balance. A little bit of balance there. But
No, I am. I've switched over to green tea too. I was looking for a coffee here, but anyway, she said she was going to email me. I said, nah. Obi will carry it. I'll get up and go get a coffee. Take 1 minute to go get one.
This USO move, like I mentioned it this morning. I'm like, I'm gonna be sitting on my hands, waiting for some sort of news. And yeah, sure, the 107s. VWAP hold was a great place to sell as well on USO this morning. And then the breakdown of low day, we covered some of that. Guess what? It comes all the way back to 104s, and I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, fine. 101 hold. I don't even get short here for the push down into 100 because I'm just like, remember I said there's two prices I'm interested with, and those were prior day's low, which was sitting at 98.40s, I think, 98 halves. And then also prior day's close, which was, we already broke that 104s and some change, right? So we already broke that 104 retest. This should definitely be a re-engage here, or like an engage on my part, because I wasn't really in a position from before. But seeing this come in aggressively, I'm like, okay, somebody definitely, this is coming in with some strong selling. Somebody definitely knows something. I don't think the news was necessarily out at any time here, but 101s, I'm just looking to take it through 100. It already got through the day's lows right there. And then, yeah, kind of botched this up a little bit, where I was just like, scalp that piece out, scalp that piece out, scalp that piece out into the lows. A little bit of capitulatory action down into 94s, 95s, and I would leave it alone. And lo and behold, they kind of, it's not really that the news was like taken back. The news had come out, and then it was confirmed by the secretary, and then the secretary deleted the message. And then we caught we had already been catching a bid, but maybe that gave some precedent to some stronger bidding happening. But capitulatory action down into 95s for sure on a smaller time frame. So how can I trade this in a more effective, efficient way? I would say ideally, we did this yesterday as well. What's the most ideal way, kind of looking back at this? Getting involved at VWAP. 110 was the level yesterday. VWAP in the pre-market, not even holding that 109 level. We talked about how, who cares if the market's not open? CL trades 24 hours except for an hour on Friday. It's already open. It's doing enough volume. Get involved in the pre-market, and that 110 is my risk. Right here, as structure breaks down, you can definitely pyramid into this as it breaks structure, retest prior key levels like that 104 area, like this 102, even this 101 area right here for the flush into it. And yeah, strong reasons to buy down here at 195s. For the intraday now, again, I'm looking for that full-on backside move. We're coming down from 120s. Right? Imagine those swings, the people getting in yesterday being like, all right, well, the president said it's over, so it's over, right? We got below prior day's lows, so that continuation did come in today. So like I said this morning, USO, probably one of the best trading vehicles in this current market, and I would even argue that yesterday and today, by far the best trades of the year. On USO, or just in period.
I haven't looked back that far.
I mean, it's only been a couple of months, but still, by far the best trades, the highest EV trades, in my opinion, of the year. Now, I'm sure there's some other trades, some closing trades that were good. There was these trades that were good, but in terms of when it comes to news catalyst-driven momentum, USO and CL. Obviously, CL is what we're actually trading, but yeah, shout out to futures traders because that's where the real kind of meat of this move is.
No, I was going to say, I mean, it's the same thing. It's what we, yesterday we had written on the sticky note for the first time USO. Today it was on the sticky note USO. We both traded USO today. So it's just a matter of, making sure that as traders, and we always say this, Obi, I mean, you showed your list yesterday from TradingView. You had over 1,000 stocks.
Yeah, easily.
Your red list was 500.
It caps, for some reason it caps it. I can't have more than 500 on one watch.
Yeah, but whatever. I was just saying, like, when you sort of reviewed your list in front of everybody, there was, hundreds of names, if not thousands. And that's what you're looking for, right? And then I added USO to my sort of watch list as well yesterday. And, it's been on there the whole time, but into the scanners. And I think that's something that you got to keep doing. So, yeah, man, trade what's in front of you and trade what's moving. We looked at silver. Now, I'm not looking at that anymore, but that's another mover as well. I think you already nailed it perfectly by saying that news-based, right? Like we're in a spot right now where everybody. Oh, my mic is a problem again. All right, let's go back over to Sharif if he's ready. Okay, go back over to Obi, and then we'll get this figured out.
No, for sure. I think I know what you're getting at here. Everybody in the whole world is looking at crude oil right now. Everybody is looking, like there's traders all around the world that are trading crude oil, USO, anything related. So it's just like you got to be where the party's at, and this is exactly where the party's at right now. I don't even know why I'm looking at anything else, because if I'm properly allocating risk in this market environment, it definitely has to be towards, it could change tomorrow. Tomorrow it could be totally different. A couple months ago, or maybe going into the beginning of the year, it was precious metals. It was gold and silver, right? And now it's oil. So that's always going to change. That sentiment's going to change. But when the whole world is looking at a certain asset or vehicle due to whatever reason, I definitely want to be there, because that is the arena that I want to play on there. So yeah, how we doing with that mic?
We're doing fine. These multi-directional mics are not very apparently. But okay, we are ready to go. Let's go back over to Sharif and figure it out. Oil bumping a little bit, 81.50 right now.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Obi in for Neil today, but the big boys, they are locked, they are loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get your tickers on the Afternoon Rundown, you got to join us in the chat. You got to vote every day. Make sure to throw in that $sign followed by the ticker of your choice, and you can vote now from 8 a.m. onwards, because that's when we're live. No longer live, just at 8:30. We're live at 8. Let's look at all four major averages before we get into the first ticker. The triple Q's up on the day to the tune of 0.2%. The SPY also green, a little bit lower than 0.5%. The Dow is now knocking on the door of that 3/4 as the IWM almost at 1%. So all four major averages in Greensville. The first name, though, as decided by you, NVDA. A couple of headlines on this one. First and foremost, it looks like Nvidia is basically looking at creating a new OpenClaw variant or CloudBot, or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be specifically for enterprises, so coming out today, going to be announced at the GTC conference coming up shortly for Nvidia. Separately, there was this headline between Nvidia and Mira Murati's Thinking Machine. They announced a gigawatt-scale AI partnership. So a couple of headlines today for Nvidia, guys, up 1.5%.
Someone just called Palantir in the chat. I think that's a pretty good little look there. Do you want to go over NVIDIA? I'm just going to call it up.
Sure, yeah, no, NVIDIA coming out this morning with that news of Nemo Claw, their own version of the agentic, an agentic AI. Now, I know a lot of my friends are using OpenClaw. I definitely am using a lot of Claude as well. But yeah, it seems like they want to enter into that space as well.
What are you using it for?
I'm using it for like analysis. I'm using it for kind of like.
What do you mean analysis? Like you're inputting your trade list, or?
Yeah, I can give it my Notion. And the cool thing about Claude is that you can actually hook it up to your Notion, is where I do my journaling, and it can look at all the journals and kind of come up with different ways to kind of get better, analyze the trades,
nice.
And even like coding, like programming some algos for.
I was only asking because I mean obviously we have a lot of traders watching, and they're probably like, okay, how are people using
tool building as well? Like some people are building scanners, or something to help them out with their trading, like tools to facilitate their daily processes, right? Making like watch lists and stuff like that, because like normally I'd spend like maybe like 20-30 minutes making my watch list, whereas if I have like an agent or like a Claude kind of doing it with a prompt every morning, it probably takes a few minutes at most.
Okay.
Right, so it's just like really training that to kind of help you out with your preparation and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been using it for. But Nvidia here, the move kind of happened off of I would guess the oil move definitely helping this bid out on the day today, and it seems like more of a continuation from yesterday as well. So I don't know if every kind of tick on the day is driven by that catalyst that we had in the morning, but I think the bigger thing is waiting for next week, where they have like where they have their conference all of next week, where they're going to be probably talking about some of this new technology that they have.
No, for me, that was it. I mean, it was, we did that research and we found out that next week is the deal. And again, it was on the note today as a long. We never got into that 181 though. Like that was sort of the pre-market low that we were looking to take. Never got into it. And by the way, Rivian's coming back in. That's going to be a good trade. People in the chat were like, Rivian's a long. Okay, it is making a move down. We did get a little bit, here we go. We did get a little bit out of Rivian here we didn't get out of it all, but we averaged it into the 200 period moving average. Now it's coming back in. We actually started this trade at this breakdown. That was completely wrong, taking the breakdown there of Rivian. But right now we're 15 cents in the money. We're going to wait to see how low we can go here on RIVN. Look, I mean, Nvidia, okay, market. I didn't even realize what was happening
look
right
at that.
now.
Oil snapped.
Oil snapping right now. Oil and USO, absolutely. I guess I got to fix my earpiece. What the hell is going on?
There's a White House press briefing right now.
Is there? Okay, so they must be saying it's complete furgaze. I mean, rhetorical question. Here goes oil right now, 84 and change. Huge move to the upside. Rhetorical question alert.
It's U.S. intelligence begun to see signs that Iran is taking steps to deploy mines in the Strait of Hormuz.
Mines? Okay, so that means that ships are just going to get blown up now.
Oil is back above 100. So there's your market.
Okay, yeah, so there goes the market upside. I really got to fix my earpiece because I really would have loved to hit that long. Like if I had heard that, I think that would have been, like I am now so like jacked up for news right now because that trade that we had last night on oil was like, you and I looked at each other, was like, why don't we put on 10 lots? Why don't we put on unlimited amounts of buying power?
Yeah.
You know,
gotta be trading in blocks in this when it's that convincing for sure. Yeah.
So here we go, man. It doesn't look like anything's stopping right now, but that's an interesting story about those mines there. I don't really know enough about that, how that exactly that works, but yeah, I guess that's enough to scare off, you know, most oil tankers, right? You know, everyone's talking about the loss of life that everybody's worried about, as they should be. So this insurance that President Trump and, you know, I guess United States is offering is just not going to be good enough right now, as there it goes. I apologize. This is giving me a headache watching this blink. I don't know why our oil's future is doing that. But here's USO right now. Actually, you know what? Obi, right back into 104.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there. That's a great key area right there today on oil. Oil just shooting up $5 right there. So yeah, about gas being down in price. Yeah, not for now, but I did get the update that the car's charged in the basement. So that's a good one there. All right, no ship escorted. Mines being dropped now. Not a good sign there, Sharif. I don't know what number 2 is, but if it's oil, I apologize, and we can talk more about it. So, all right, let's go back over to Sharif, check out what story number 2 is.
Oil is on, Sean, but not this one. This one's Tesla. But yeah, OB, absolutely accurate. This is being reported by CBS News vis-a-vis an ex-post. Essentially what OB said, U.S. intelligence assets have begun to see indications Iran is taking steps to deploy mines in the Strait of Hormuz shipping lane. It's a bit of a tough look there, guys. Any more information, obviously, I will bring that to you. Tesla, though. Tesla and Alphabet launch an energy affordability coalition called Utilize. Basically, a lot of demand for electricity. Microsoft reported $80 billion in unfulfilled Azure orders due to insufficient electricity. So Tesla and Alphabet in business together separately. Elon Musk loses another senior executive as the finance vice president. Sandil Palani steps down after 17 years. Also, this is obviously not Tesla related, but Elon Musk adjacent. Reuters is reporting Elon Musk's SpaceX weighs Nasdaq listing, seeks early inclusion in the Nasdaq 100 as an IPO condition. And then there was some unusual options activity here for Tesla. Total option volume, 72.5 million contracts, resulted in a net open interest of 5.93 million calls at 4.78 million puts. Specifically, though, here, the contracts for Tesla, we're looking at the March 13th weekly 670 calls, specifically on that one. So Tesla, guys, up 0.14, barely.
All right, so Tesla was like the one sort of thing that really got me today. I mean, look, it's going to be my P&L number 1, but this we could have, would have, should have. It's irrelevant, but that could have been a much bigger trade, and it felt like it wanted to get lower, right? And I mean, we did stop out right there at the pre-market low, sort of just before it's not even the pre-market low, but you know, the hour before the pre-market, that's the levels right there. So we did stop out at 401 once that wound up breaking, but we took it early. There was a lot of juice to Tesla. It came back in and gave us VWAP. We love that VWAP trade. Then we came in, gave us 200 period. We averaged it in. That's where we wound up losing. I think we might have gone red there on Tesla. I'm not sure. And then once we realized that was holding into that level there, that's where I went long again against that exact same level. But it gave me so many opportunities to reload. Basically, for 10 straight minutes, you and I and everybody was sitting here watching this, and it was like, is it going to go? Like, I don't know. And then eventually it just popped, and then that was like, money. So that was the trade right there, man. I mean, look where it went to, Obi. It went from the low of the day right into the high of the day, and we got it all pretty much. Like these were big outs for us, man, or for me as we went, and that's 11:05. We did this all on the air, basically, and then it came through, and as they say, the rest is history. It dropped out. Then we got out. I believe at that time it must have been VWAP or something. I don't know why it would have just stopped out randomly there. Maybe it was the 50 period, kept on going lower, and then there's the break right now for Tesla. Tesla's not strong at all today. I don't know why it was up early in the pre-market. Maybe it was something to do with SpaceX and Starlink, but right now Tesla weak, man, weak. So I don't love the stock. We're short Rivian instead right now. That's starting to bleed to the downside a little bit here. Not really, but we just were able to get a 76 there. Rivian held the low of the day. So a couple tail of two different stocks here. Strong on Rivian today, weak on. How are you doing?
Now we're talking.
My good friend. How are you? Here we go. This is
second delay.
I have the vest in the.
It's my colleague Austin.
Hi Austin, how are you doing?
Good.
I heard you have a great city in Texas there. So how was the trip?
I can see that my complaints have come to fruition. I now have a wireless.
How's everything going?
Everything's going well. Everything's going well. Good to stop it. Just stopped in. I brought the donuts.
Oh my gosh, no.
Actually, no donuts. Cookies only. We're cutting back. Cutting back.
Look at you though.
Huh?
You're cutting back and you're bringing the donuts to us over here. So this is Mark from ICE, Intercontinental Exchange. So
Mark looks bright red and shiny. But besides that, things are
looking
good.
pretty good, man. You're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. And by the way, congratulations. I saw Intel was moving around. That was a great trade.
Yeah, I see Ford's out of the hole it was in.
Yeah, don't talk to your friend Randy about Ford. He does not like that company.
Where's the SLV?
Oh, you're a little silver buff, eh, over there.
Well,
You crushed silver last couple
I don't want
months.
to toot my horn, but you know.
This guy knows what he's doing.
You had the long there?
Yeah, I got
Nice.
Former pit trader over
Yeah.
here. Sugar, am I correct or no?
Softs in general, yeah, softs.
Yeah. So this guy's been around, man, and it's always great to see you.
Yes, I brought
One of
my
my
colleague
favorites.
Austin here from the U.S.
From the U.S. as well.
We're just here to check in with the group, make sure everything's going well.
Please pass the mic to Austin.
And this guy's Austin. Here you go. This guy's
Austin in the
guys?
middle.
Nice to
See
meet you.
Austin. So what do you think about the studio?
It's very cool. I didn't realize that it was going to be this whole back area. This is really nice.
Good. We're being told we got to get back to this. Oil is moving around like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Right now. Here, you want to
right
see?
now.
You wanna see it?
Well, I don't know where crude oil is, but we're trading USO. So, yeah.
Here, this is what it looks like today. So we started
87.
around, this is the morning here. So we started $94. This is yesterday's move down. There's 90. We got to 77, Mark, today. Now we're bumping back up right now as the news story was they had escorted, the United States had escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz, but then that tweet was deleted. So they did not escort it. So oil falls down on that news and right back up now. So we're getting ready to rock and roll. It's always great. I thought you were in the next week or.
No, we're going out tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow night. I better tell the wife. Okay.
All right, back to you guys.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
All right. Always the best.
Take
Right
care.
there, Mark. I'm not allowed to say his last name. You know, he's going to get too much fanfare. So, Mark, thank you so much. And we're going out tomorrow night. I better put that in the calendar. I forgot. You want to come out tomorrow night?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Mark, I'm bringing Obi tomorrow night. This gentleman, Obi. Have you met Obi before? There we go.
Thank you. I'll be there.
All right.
See ya.
And everybody in Toronto also invited on ICE's tab. So anybody watching, maybe
boy.
not.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of food and drink tomorrow.
Okay.
If you're going, take my place. I actually forgot. Like when I saw him here, I was like, oh my God, he's a week early. But I might have it marked down wrong. Is that Mark Cuban? Yeah, that's Mark Cuban. Yeah. But okay, let's go. So anyways, that was oil. That was Mark from ICE. So they're Intercontinental Exchange. You will notice they own the NYSE, and I think it's over 30 exchanges worldwide, and he's just a rep here for real trading. So we trade in over 60 plus live markets, obviously, here, and he's representing the Intercontinental Exchange and answering questions and spoiling us. That's where we got those vests from, of course. Don't show him that I have the Instanet vest right here on my chair. But okay, let's go back over. Poor Sharif had to sit there the whole time as well. Yeah, Sharif and Joe, you guys are available tomorrow night. We're going out, apparently, with ICE, so get ready to go for that. All right, back to the desk.
Say, Sean? Oh boy. All right, a lot of updates. I had to do that. A lot of updates, guys. Pentagon confirms Reuters report on casualties in Iran war. Says in a statement, approximately 140 U.S. service members have been wounded over the past 10 days of conflict. Goes on to say, White House on Iran, U.S. military is moving to dismantle missile production infrastructure. Goes on to say, Trump remains confident goals will be achieved swiftly. President and energy team closely watching markets, additional options being drawn up. Trump is not afraid to use additional options on energy. The report goes on. Once national security options are achieved, oil prices will drop, he goes on to say. And yeah, those are the comments coming out right now. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt making the comments now. Separately here, of course, we have Palantir is next, and it's down 3.3%. They did have this tie up with Polymarket. They announced a partnership, guys, with Palantir and TWGAI to develop next-gen sports integrity platform. The company said, quote, this partnership with global leaders in data integration, artificial intelligence, and security is designed to promote the trust, transparency, and the reliability that participants, institutions, and the public deserves from prediction markets. The Vergence AI engine created last year through a joint venture with Palantir will serve as the technical infrastructure to establish new standard for sports market integrity controls aimed at preventing, identifying, and reporting anomalous, suspicious activity. So if you're looking for the prediction markets to be transparent and safe, Palantir apparently is trying to make that a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely liking Palantir here today. And we actually, for today, didn't really have it written down to do anything, but we did take a trade early. And I feel like all these early trades that I'm in, like, you know, they're either great or not. And this one was flat. It was a nice move higher there. And I'm always fine taking things against the low of the day in the pre-market, especially if it's early, because you get that move, right? I mean, and yesterday on Palantir was quite a nice move right there to the upside. That was from 155 to 158, you know, before falling down. So today we sort of think about the same type of thing right there, but it just doesn't come through. We get that basically the 155 again, the same level, and just does not go. Our best out there is 155.80. So instead of going $3, we go 80 cents. And then we basically lose. That's a 155. That's a 154.50. So, you know, up a little bit, down a little bit, you know, up 50 cents, 80 cents, down 50 cents, and out. Turned out to be a great out. Obviously, it does look like it comes back there. I'm not sure if that was real. And then it's just straight down. So we're getting lower here on Palantir. It's unfortunate because it did have a nice little run there. And I think it's fine. I'm hearing crude is going lower here a little bit.
I just took that trade, yeah.
Okay, you're in short. Okay, good. But there goes Palantir. There was about 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 days. Nice upside play into 160. Now falling back into 150 again. So we'll have to be very, very careful here. But it's Palantir right there, giving it up just a little bit off of its 50-period moving average right there. So that's, you know, like Palantir, I think it's an awesome trading vehicle. It's just when it doesn't want to work, it really doesn't want to work. And, you know, we sort of saw that this morning when I even said, remember, I hit this thing this morning. I was like, somebody is in here selling it. Now, she's always buying things, but it felt like there was someone selling at 155. So, okay, here we go. Maybe this is the headline for you here, Obi. I don't even know what's going on with oil, but Israel to halt strikes. Wait a minute, Israel to halt strikes on Iran's energy. Oh, U.S. asks. Okay, so that you think that would be a good sign. I don't know. I thought I heard oil was moving the other way here. Let's go have a quick little check on that as you are short there. Do you have?
I mean,
do you have any opinions on
Palantir? I think, I think what was interesting about Palantir this morning was that even though the market was ripping up, and we kind of talked about this, Palantir didn't really have any sort of a significant bounce, just kind of consolidating in and around these 150s to 152. So a little bit of a muted move, not really following along with the rest of the market. Now you look back on a higher frame here, I think we were looking at the daily as that 150 being a little bit of an interesting area. Again, the question I'm asking is this the backside move right here? I think the shorts off of 180s and 175s were absolutely solid on Palantir. We got a continuation all the way down into 130s, 126 lows, but over the past couple of days, you can see here just a bit of a hold of that 150. So I'm asking, is this another lower high, especially when the market is ripping the way it is and Palantir can't catch a bounce for its life and it's muted like that? I'm definitely, asking that. Is this another iteration of sellers showing us who is actually in charge on this name? But we'll wait and see if Palantir continues to go below or above 150 going forward. But that was some peculiar action on Palantir today.
Yeah, no, I again, like the stock. I think it's the right stock at the right times, but we're gonna figure that all out. At some point. I keep on hearing news about Iran now again. They're not, apparently the U.S. is not playing until Iran has an unconditional surrender. So that's just what I heard, but we'll get more stories on this coming up. It's 2:30 right now. Let's run through a few more and get Sharif out of here.
All right, a couple of headlines, guys. The U.S. government has urged Israel not to carry out further strikes on Iran's energy and oil infrastructure, marking the first time it has restrained Israel's actions since the joint operations began. Washington's concerns apparently center around civilian harm, post-war cooperation with Iran's oil sector, and risks of broader regional retaliation that could disrupt, according to them, global energy markets. Apparently, also, Saudi Arabia in talks to buy interceptor drones, being reported by the Wall Street Journal, negotiating to purchase Ukrainian air defense system, including interceptor drones and electronic warfare, and to counter Iranian Shahed drones. Of course, we know the Ukrainians do have experience with that, having received that from the Russians. All right, let's talk about the next stock. Yeah, we're still on the rundown. Hims and Hers up another 3% today. Not a bad look. Still, trending up after that tie-up they had, or the litigation-ending deal, I should say, with Novo Nordisk. Novo Nordisk drops their patent infringement lawsuit against Hims, and Hims gets to sell Novo's products online, guys. Up another 3.
I just looked over to Obi because I was like, okay, this guy's all about Hims and Hers, and I see him working on a Hims and Hers chart, and I'm like, how did you know that? It's normally Neil gets all these little inside tips here, but all right. So Obi, what about Hims and Hers?
Yeah, no, I think interesting. I took that opening drive. Definitely was a chase into that 25, but I did well to kind of piece off when there was no follow through in through the 26s. But I think the real trade here was the push through the opening the opening range high from yesterday, which was 23.48s, and we got that breakout in the pre-market session. I kind of talked about how this had the potential to be that leg consolidation leg, and I was really looking for that secondary leg today. We got a nice momentum off of the open, but I think the better trade here was strong reasons to sell and the failure to follow through of 26s. A little bit of a bouncy ball into this level, 24.62s, which was that reaction high from the pre-market yesterday. You can see incremental kind of bounces, maybe a little flush, but holding that, where's VWAP right here? So VWAP's down here, holding VWAP from the downside, holding the anchored from the highs right there as well, a bit of a sandwich, and then you get that continuation. So I was having a discussion about what were some of the best ways to kind of trade this on the day today, and I think right here, if I just kind of draw it in, I think highest EV trades if you're nice with it, maybe you're slapping this bid up here into the 26 failure to follow through right here. But I think the best kind of push is into this right here, 24.60s, and then right here, opening range low, where it kind of consolidates and gives you a nice little tight range to get involved with for the backside move. And interestingly enough, Sean, you remember that anchored VWAP from yesterday? That's what we've been holding pretty much all day long since about 11 o'clock. So prior day's support, one of prior day's support levels, which was resistance yesterday. So it's a classic example of that anchored VWAP being a level which was resistance now turning into support after it broke out yesterday. And that's kind of what I've had it on watch all day. It's just been up on my top screen. HIMS, pretty good vehicle today as well, but I should have taken the backside because it was much, much cleaner, even though it took a lot longer than some of the push in the morning.
All right, so I mean, there's absolutely no way I can even come close to topping that. So I'm just going to talk about Novo here. And I just, you know, this name has gotten really beat up, man. Not a great earnings call. Nice move to the downside right here, trying to fill this gap. I just think this is a short if it even tries to fill this, and it looks like it's trying to do it right now. That's $40. That gap fill all the way back to 47. I think you can like sort of withstand that 20% here in short Novo. Like this name seems to be getting to the downside. And we looked at Eli Lilly today, and I don't know, in this recent, Eli Lilly was either slightly up or broke above $1,000 again here today. So, you know, Novo Nordisk down 3%, Eli Lilly flat on the day. I just much prefer this name, and I just want to take the opportunity to talk about that because Novo just continues to not be the one, you know, and it's just pretty downside. If you even zoom out, it's going to even get a little worse. But, you know, just downside here, you know, boom, you know, look, I mean, that's what I'm saying, like just straight, you know, not much love here for Novo Nordisk. So just want to bring that to people's attention. I think this is an awesome short coming back in underneath 50, underneath the 200, and just looking like it wants to print lower. Anybody short right now, NVO, I think is doing pretty good, and you don't have to worry about that. I don't think until like I said, maybe 48, 49, $50. That's when I would stop out. But I like that short and like the long on Eli Lilly. I'm jealous, man. I can't wait to go get my coffee. All right, next rundown.
All right, USO, finally, guys, down 1.2%. So many different headlines here. We reported to you, not us incorrectly, but it was reported incorrectly by U.S. Secretary Wright, Energy Secretary Wright, that U.S. oil, that the U.S. military had escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. Caroline Levitt is giving a press conference right now where she confirmed that the U.S. has not escorted any vessel through the Strait of Hormuz, making that very clear. She also reported 150 troops have been injured. It's within that ballpark, she says. And then with respect to the ending of the conflict, she says ultimately operations will end when the commander-in-chief determines the military objectives have been met, fully realized, and that Iran is in a position to complete an unconditional surrender, whether they say it or not. In any event, guys, here we are, USO down 1.2% after being almost down 10% NSSR.
Okay, so here we go, man. I mean, this is what we've been waiting for, is to talk about oil, right, and USO and everything. So here's crude. We just had this talk a little bit with Mark, and Obi and I have been sort of talking about this all day. You know, yesterday we had a great opportunity to go short there around about 45 minutes from now. It was around 3:15 when we got that news, and today we got more news again of, and I don't really know why they can't get it all figured out, but Obi's already nailed it. Like, he has Twitter open here with news sources. And, you know, that Strait of Hormuz, we do know how volatile that's going to be. I mean, when the market got that news as well, we did have an upside play and then completely reversed once we got, you know, the correction that it was actually mines that they're putting in the Strait of Hormuz, not ships escorting, almost the complete opposite. So this is just going to be so news-based. I mean, if you didn't think oil was fun to trade, then maybe you're sort of in the wrong spot. The volatility is here, and sometimes there's absolutely no stopping this. So you know, loving the trade. I think when you sort of pull it out, what we saw over the weekend, you know, heading into Monday morning, Sunday night, you know, that was, I think people either getting blown out of shorts or just a complete escalation there. You know, this kind of makes sense. I mean, the supreme leader in Iran, obviously, is no longer with us. They've now got another one. I could understand why oil was going up, but that was just like a sort of almost like a black swan move, and it just filled the whole gap yesterday. So I think it's ready for any positive news for oil to come back in now. But if that doesn't exist, then we're just going to trade the source. I see Adara's right back there in her chair. So we're going to get ready to rock and roll on any kind of story here affecting oil. You know, names to look at, obviously. The big ones, XOM, CVX, all that. I like trading Occidental. We've seen Battle. This one had sort of sussed out about 2 weeks ago when it was really going hard. I guess it was last week, up there into 34, 35 bucks, now falling back down. I think a lot of these names will retrace back in, and just a matter of waiting for shorts now on some of these high short float names, low float, high short float names, BATL, ENDO, and a few other ones. So I think Obi and I will still continue to trade USO here and look for some opportunities in that space rather than the equities.
Yeah, definitely. I think that we talk about sticking to stocks that are in play, and USO definitely one of those. I mentioned this earlier. Everybody is watching this asset, this vehicle here, crude oil futures especially, right? And the USO is a good vehicle if you're trading anything on the NYSE or the Nasdaq here. USO is one of the better ones that'll follow that crude oil a little bit closer there. So we had some of the moves yesterday coming in, and then today a little bit of a shake and bake with some of that news that did come in. Again, it's kind of my lacking for not getting involved in and around the pre-market session. I even have this 110 marked out, which was an absolutely solid trade yesterday from 110s all the way to 98s and some change. And we got that continuation coming in today. We'll talk more about this after we get back from Madeira.
More oil headlines. It is worth noting, I'm seeing this circulate here. Financial Times reporting that IEA, or International Energy Agency meeting discussing the possibility of releasing that crude oil stockpile has ended with no decision. So yeah, IEA met. They have not decided whether or not to release that crude stockpile as reported by Financial Times. Here is USO, and back to Obi.
Thank you very much, Adara. No, I kind of I've been watching the news. Like I said this morning, this market is extremely news driven as of right now, and you gotta have Trader TV on and up to get all that news as fast as possible. I have a bunch of my news sources as well, so I am fast to the keys when things are actually happening. And you can see not only is oil affected, take a look at some of these futures. It's also the markets as a whole that will probably be knocked around as well with some of this news. We had that push up into 25.2s as oil fell down all the way down to a new recent low of 94s here. So you can see that on that move, we got that pop up to 25.2s, but then I guess, certain posts were pulled about that tanker. Nothing really came down saying that didn't actually happen, but the news came out. I forget what the original source was, and then I think it was the Secretary of Energy that came in with the confirmation that, oh yeah, this is actually happening, and we got a secondary leg on that confirmation. And then once that tweet was kind of pulled, and then we also had a little bit of capitulatory action, we started getting legs higher, and then more news from I guess the White House coming in, and then I think it was also the viewing of, I guess, Iran setting up some mines that got us some strong push here as well. But I do want to point something out. I understand that the news is very important, but at the end of the day, like Sean even said, I was short before that actually came in. I just want to reiterate that price action is absolutely king. You get involved in the places you should be getting involved with, and then you get lucky. That's kind of the way it's been happening, where it's just like, okay, reasons to sell. Oh, some bad news. Even stronger reasons to sell, even after you're getting expanding volume into some of these flushes. Day low break, I like that. I was looking for that, and that comes in confluenced with some news. I like that even more. So like I said before, we should definitely be, first of all, I should be definitely sizing a lot bigger on some of these. Again, not necessarily a block boy just yet, but definitely working my way up there for sure. But that 100 breakdown was absolutely mint. And then even this capitulation, the long that came in, this action comes in way before the news that kind of pulls this price all the way back into and through that 100 mark, which for sure, short-term shorts are getting blasted through that day low, back through 100 as well on this move. So great vehicle USO has been for some intraday trading for sure. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. Thank you everybody for the questions in the chat. Thank you everybody for everything and all the positive, kind stuff and words that we continue to go over here. I just got to note, Tesla's at 400 now, so it already broke through. We already saw that. I'm wondering if Tesla holds this 400. So there it is, man, just back up here, hitting the 50-period moving average. Looking like it wants to go down, right? That's 403, bouncing off VWAP. There's the touch to 50 again at 402. There's the touch at 400 again. So it's looking like it wants to go to the downside. I'm actually looking short rather than long right here on Tesla. Market also, excuse me, I just chugged that water, underneath VWAP as well, Tesla, the market. So this looks like we could start to give up something there on the top side of this market today. And I think there's some of this uncertainty that we're seeing in, this oil trade is causing a little bit of this, obviously, as we get to the downside. And a lot of people, I guess it's like, kind of like, this is not the right wording, but like shoot first, ask questions later type of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'd rather just get flat on all of this before, like, do you really think that President Trump is going to take kindly to them dropping basically landmines in the, or sea mines in the sea there? That's not going to go over well, and that could result in extra, and I'm not Pete Hegseth here or anything, but that could result in more military action. And I don't think that's going to be good for the market. However, as I was talking to people, I've said this story a couple of times, Russia invaded Ukraine, and then this happened with Iran. The very next day, the markets started down and then ripped absolutely back up to the upside. So it's just funny that when you're looking at the SPY and you think about oil was just at 118. Think about where gold is and silver are at, considering to their historical norms against the S&P 500, right? You think about what AI apparently is coming for all the white-collar jobs in the whole world. We're through earnings season. We don't have any leadership in the market from the Mag 7. We have leadership in other spaces, so that's great. Banks falling on their head right now, right? I mean, a lot of those bank names are down to the downside. JP Morgan, 285. Morgan Stanley was was down 3 or 4% the other day. And the S&P 500 right now is $18 less than $15. Like, I don't know if I know our thing isn't working here. Yours is probably much better. But if you go from the highs right here of this candle to sort of where we are right there, it's going to say minus 2.13% right now from the highs. So for me, kind of like, it's not even really like technically like a dip buying opportunity. We haven't even really had that move down yet. So I don't know, maybe we're not having that move down that we're all waiting for, I mean, how can the world's richest company, Nvidia, with a $4 trillion plus market cap, sort of look like this? Nothing's like they're acting like they never even heard of Iran before. There's nothing going on here with this stock. You're looking at stocks like Apple, Broadcom, all the market leaders, Google entering the building right now as well with their market cap. They've gotten hit actually on the AI stuff, but still, these still look pretty healthy. We're not even anywhere near the 200-period moving average over here. There are other names like Meta and Microsoft that continue to bleed downside a little bit, but it's just amazing to me sort of the strength and the breadth in this market. Like Caterpillar continues to go higher. Seems like now it's going to have its ups and downs, but continues to move. And this has had a huge, monstrous move. This is actually pretty good value right there. What am I doing not buying that dip, Obi? But this kind of move gets bought up, right? Like, why aren't they letting Caterpillar fall? It gets to key levels, it gets bought up. So there's names like this that continue to exist that give us sort of strength and hope that this market is not going anywhere. So I don't know what it's going to take to get this market to the downside. We've had PE names like CrowdStrike get hit to the downside and brought right back up. Obviously stocks like Palantir hit 130, back up to 160 again. Lots of stories in this market, but none of them seem to be too negative to create like a cascading effect. I'm waiting for the markets to drop down 10% to get some more dry powder in there, right? But that's just not happening. So we might be forced to buy higher later on. So that's what I mean. Asking questions, then figuring it out after. It looks like the market's going to be resilient one more time as Tesla battling with 401. What's up, Adair?
It's been kind of easy to forget about this because of all of the news out of Iran and in the Middle East, but Oracle reports earnings tonight. Now, what segment are we going to be looking at? It'll be the cloud infrastructure revenue segment. Now, again, this is like where they had that really lofty guidance through fiscal 2030, like hundreds of billions of dollars. For fiscal 2026, they're expecting $18 billion. Now, Q1 26, they posted $3.35 billion. Q2, $4.1 billion. So that leaves, like, they're still more than halfway to go to beat this guidance. So one area to watch when ORCL reports tonight after the bell. I am going to have stuff being posted around the earnings release, so do stay tuned on X at TTV Research if you are interested in content, and tonight, I guess, Oracle content in particular. While I have you guys, I have seen a little bit more detail about that story we already heard with regards to CBS and this U.S. intel. Further details suggest that U.S. intel is going to be preparing to deploy, U.S. intel saying that Iran is preparing to deploy naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Apparently how they're going to do this, because we were wondering how they were going to do it. They're going to do it reportedly by having these small boats carry 2 to 3 mines each. So that's how Iran will reportedly be getting these boats or these mines here into the Strait of Hormuz. Back to you.
Wouldn't that just be hilarious to be, that person in charge says, okay, you are the one manning these boats to go drop these mines. You are going to get shot down, like you're going to get blown out of the Straits of Hormuz ASAP. It's just crazy that we talk like this, like all this loss of life. It's just so sad that it's becoming like a everyday thing, like anyways, these times not great. This is probably right, VWAP Trader. Oh, what day is it today? We have Brian waiting. How come no one's in my ear about Brian waiting over here? We have Brian Shannon going to come through too. Because I just saw VWAP Trader alert in there, and I was like, wait a second. What about Brian? But here it is, Trader TV Live, plunge protection team. Yeah, I mean, I believe that this does exist. So the plunge protection team, getting in there, buying up lows and things like that. And you can look it up, the plunge protection team. It's probably doesn't exist, but at the end of the day, it's what people think about when the market's falling. Someone's got to get in there to buy it. Yeah. I know if it goes to the anchored VWAP, Brian Shen will be in there buying it. But for right now, it's the market does seem to get a little low. It's been so you guys just let me know in my ear when we can bring Brian on. Right now, I think we're just setting up some audio with him, and he'll be on very, very shortly. It's been a couple weeks, Obi. I know you haven't been with us every Tuesday here, but he's been busy. And even last week, he was doing some charitable work at a school, which was really nice. So it'd be great to have Brian come on and hear sort of his thoughts about the energy space. So stay tuned for at Alpha Trends, Brian Shannon coming on in just a couple seconds. But all right. So we just talked about crude. Oh, okay. Without any further ado, let's bring him on. It's our good friend who we've been missing for the last little while. It's Brian Shannon. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Okay, there he is. Good. What a wild environment that we're in right now. We, last night we traded oil, yesterday when that move happened, and it just happened again right now. Has any of this kind of stuff piqued your interest? I know you're not a heavy day trader, but how are you positioning, or intraday, I guess, how are you positioning for all this madness sort of in the energy space?
Yeah, Sean, it's been, the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, I kind of switched over once we got super choppy to trade. I'm still swing trading, but doing so with half risk units. And, the good news is there's been still quite a few good setups that are presenting themselves and allowing me to hold for more than a day trade. So I'm being a lot tighter with the risk, quicker to take a partial off to reduce the overnight exposure. Starbucks was a new entry today. I've taken a third of that one off with a 2-point gain. So they're behaving well, in spite of the overall market backdrop.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We were just saying that, energy is the play. And I mean, for traders like us sitting here every day and hitting keys, obviously silver's been a great mover, as has USO, or just trading the futures as well. But obviously great picks there with Starbucks and giving it back. Are you focusing on the consumer with that Starbucks play, or was that just a technical setup? Because there's other names that have been moving around, Dutch Bros in the space as well. What gave you the idea there for Starbucks?
It's funny because Dutch Bros I was looking at as a short 2 days ago, and it did break down, but it did so on a gap. So I missed that move yesterday, which was probably a good thing. But Starbucks was simply a short, a nice setup here on the long side. If we take a look at the weekly chart, let's see, you can see I've got all these anchors from the last 5-6 years kind of coming together in this area. And then it presented as a nice consolidation with a rising 20 and 50 and 200-day moving average. So it's set up perfect for my type of entry this morning. And my goal was to take a third off at 101, which did occur. So now I've got a 2/3 position, which is really 1/6 of a position based on a full risk unit. So I'm starting out with if your normal risk unit is $1,000, you start out with $500 risk based on where your stop goes. That one's done well. I've got Apogee, which was a new purchase yesterday. So they're out there, but there's still and I've got a couple. I've got a long and a short that we'll present here at the end of this. That look good for tomorrow. Okay, perfect. You've given us some crazy trades in the past, so we really appreciate that. Brian, about a year ago, or maybe a little bit longer than that, it was sort of just you and I on the after show. Neil was doing it. We were all sort of sharing. We had, just for fun, called up Intel. So I'm going to give you a second to call up that chart. You were very wise. I don't know if it was a joke or not, but you slapped on about like a 30-year, it seemed 40-year, Adair just said in my ear, their anchor VWAP to this name. And we were cruising, man, right around $18, $19, $20. That breakout on President Trump and the U.S. government, as well as Foundry News. I mean, there's a few things, reason why this is going to the upside. But now, Brian, this is really riding this 50-period moving average for me on the daily right now. I know you're looking at maybe weeklies, but it seems like we want to hold this 42-ish area, knowing that the U.S. government's in this name, knowing that, some of these chip names have sort of been lagging right now. What do you think about Intel at some of these levels and potentially making a move back north of $50 here? I remember that conversation well, Sean, and it was the anchor from the IPO, which was in 1980. There it is. There it is. So that's when we were talking about it right in there. And you know what? It did something important today. The stock has been stuck underneath the year-to-date anchored VWAP. That's that orange line. So we've been stuck below it for the last 3 weeks and kind of hammering away at it. Today we got back above it. We're above the 20 and the 50-day moving average as well. So I look at this, Sean, and I see that, you see I have some prior sketches on there. But this is, the blue is the month to date and the purple is the week to date anchor. I look at this and see that, we just came from 41.5 to 47.5, 48. So it just ran 15% off of yesterday's lows. I certainly don't want to chase a breakout here. I'll let other people chase the breakout, and then maybe in a day or two, they'll spit it out at lower prices. So what I'm looking for ideally is something like this, is we start to pull back a little bit, hold that 5-day moving average that comes up in there, and then to buy strength after. So we got ahead of ourselves here. We don't have a good higher low to protect the swing trade stop against. But if we pull back and then begin to rally here, then we want to be a buyer at that point with a stop under whatever this higher low might be. And then I think you're right. We could probably head up towards, $52 per share. Okay, perfect.
All right, thank you very much for joining us here. I remember last time I was talking to you, we were talking about kind of how silver was going parabolic and waiting for that trend to break, and it definitely broke down here and started to consolidate in and around that anchored VWAP from the breakout of that 50. So I just wanted to ask you, were you involved in this trade here? And a bonus to that, USO has been doing some crazy moves here. I know you've been following that as well. How can we know that this is a little bit of a backside? Because this is probably more news driven than anything. So I want to know your take on that alongside that silver trade we were talking about before.
Yeah, the USO, I'll pass on that one simply because it's like you said, it's just news driven, and I don't want to be a hostage to the news and scalping in and out of it. But silver is behaving better. Now, we had that big flush out, of course, and we've been riding near that rising 50-day moving average. And what I've got on here is that orange anchor is the same thing we just looked at in Intel, which is the year-to-date anchor. And we've been finding a little bit of supply in that zone. What you can see, though, here, we're starting to see shape up is a little bit of a cup and handle here on this daily time frame. You could look at that as the cup, and this is the handle, or we could see it with a little bit more clarity over here on that 30-minute time frame on the right as well. So this is becoming the zone, and it's trapped, like I said, by the year-to-date anchor. More bullish is gold, though, because gold has been above that year-to-date anchored VWAP. And we are just getting back above, we're also above and have been holding above the anchor from that high. So similar to what we just saw in silver, this is the anchor off the high. On gold, though, we're back above it. And this is showing a little bit more constructive. I like the fact that it's holding that anchor. It's right down. We just got a little flush in here to a perfect place, which is the week-to-date and month-to-date anchor. So if we start to see this move, stabilize and move higher from here, then we've got an easy place for a stop somewhere around 473 in gold.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, no, I didn't even realize that gold was that much stronger than silver. I did know that it was closer to its highs as well. But yeah, no, that's a great look. Thank you very much. It's good to know that that silver when it did come in, it came in really hot though. I didn't expect it to come in all within one day, the break of trend. But I guess that sometimes that's how the trend breaks.
Yeah. That's why there's an important lesson there, which of course we know, is that you've got to be prepared and understand that the unexpected like that does happen. Nobody was prepared for oil to be up 30% last week and then up 25% Sunday night, whatever it was, and then to come crashing back down. But you've got to realize, people have to realize that's why risk management is our number one job.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was sort of calling that there like a little bit of that black swan event there on Sunday night. Like, what was it doing up there, anyways? And then all the way back in. Okay, Brian, you want to have some fun here? Do you mind if I open it up to the group? Maybe we'll take one question from the audience. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, well, I already got it loaded, so here we go. He always says yes. Okay, here we go. Circle. So this is a name that I think you and I talked about a while ago. This is a recent IPO. I mean, recent, I don't know how recent it is, but they just banged out great earnings. So here was the, let's go when my charts load, take a little long to do this. But there it is right there. So back in June of 25, so we're trying to get around a year ago, a couple more months than that. Nice move up, obviously, as we get really, enthusiastic about IPOs. And that was a huge blowout top, obviously, $300, give me a break, all the way back in right there. And it looks like we found pretty decent support right around its IPO price or its IPO range. And then we just blast off on good earnings and then more talk about the Genius Act and what's going on there with crypto and the clarity. And of course, these guys are USDC and stablecoins. So if we get rid of the macro right now, there's a lot of traders asking what's going on with Circle. They have swing trades on, and it's getting to be pretty profitable. To me, it looks like we're running into a little bit of an area here. What do you think about Circle? As many of our viewers have asked, even in the chat here, what's Brian's opinion? So I turn it over to you on CRCL.
Yeah, this has been a hell of a rally since those earnings. And Sean, it just shows a beautiful pattern of higher highs and higher lows above the rising 5-day moving average. That's this orange line right here. It looks like it wants to stretch for the anchor from the IPO. So that's the level, and that's that green line. You can see I have it anchored right here at the IPO. So that would be, let's take a look at that number together. That's approximately, let's just call it 134 to be conservative. It looks like it wants to stretch for that, but I wouldn't wait for 134 before selling. Instead, I would look at this and say, let's look at the definition of trend, higher highs and higher lows. And as long as we still have that pattern above these, this rising 5-day moving average, then continue to ride it up towards that level. And as it gets up towards that 123, maybe tighten your stop on half of it to, if it makes a higher low below the week to date anchor. So put partial stop under here if it was to come down. And then maybe it comes down like this, makes a higher low at the 5-day moving average, then raise the rest of your stop in here. But if instead, let's say it breaks this low and just continues lower, well, you've got a third off up there, and then maybe your 2/3 over here or whatever, area it is. But the name of the game in here is to protect these profits because it's been a hell of a rally. Don't get focused so much on this is where it's likely to go. That's the level of interest, but, protect the profits.
Right. Yeah, get those stop orders in and figure it out. And you even mentioned yourself too, you know, maybe trim down some of the units and get that sort of figured out before you understand the risk. You always got to understand the reward, and both them playing off of each other. Brian, you teased us about 10 or 15 minutes ago that you had a couple ideas that you wanted to share with everybody here at Trader TV Live. And of course, we want to once again thank Brian Shannon from @AlphaTrends. You can find his X handle below, and of course, the author of two anchored VWAP books, right? And I look for one around here. I know someone must have took it, but let's go. What are your ideas? Over there. And thank you again for coming on here today.
Okay, first up, Dell. Dell reported earnings about a week and a half ago. This is a weekly chart, and you can see I've put an anchor on these significant highs and lows, and we're above all those. So if we clear that off, you can see we're also right where the 20, the 31, and the 42-week moving average, basically your 100, 150, and 200-day moving average are all tightened up together here and looking ready to go. So when we look down to the daily time frame, this was the earnings report right here. And we had that nice little flag consolidation. A lot of people bought in that area. Yesterday, we had the perfect thing happen. We had a nice shakeout below. So we've had these lower highs coming into this last week and a half. And now we see that it shook out underneath there. So if Dell does something like this, and I want to be a buyer for a continuation of the earnings move, post-earnings announcement drift, with a worst case, absolute worst case stop below yesterday's low. But if it starts to get moving in here a little bit, I would say you want to raise your stop up quickly under here, because that's the environment that we're in, that we want to be sure to to protect our initial line first of all, and then to be able to, if it were to break out over here, I would be looking to sell some to some of the breakout chasers up in this zone, because this would be the proper place to sell. But I would be looking in that area to take some off, because they typically break out, pull back, and everyone says, how come the breakouts don't work? Because this is the proper entry. So Dell on the long side, and because we're in a two-way tape, you have to be considering the short side as well. And NetApp, NTAP is the symbol. In here, if we look at start also with the weekly time frame, you can see that we're below all those key weekly moving averages, which are again the 100-day, the 150, and the 200-day moving average. We're below those, and they're all declining. Sellers are in control. We have a pattern of lower highs and lower lows. Now we've had this little consolidation under this prior support and below the anchor from last April's tariff lows. So since the tariffs, the average participant who bought in this rally is losing money. And it's starting to find supply here at a declining 50-day moving average. Not starting, but it has been, for the last 2 months. The 20 is rolling back over. So I'm looking at this as, it's a little bit choppy. So again, a half a risk unit, but with a worst case stop up near about $101.30. Keep an eye on this one for maybe, tomorrow morning we get a little bit of a strength, and then short as it rolls over with a worst case stop up under there. Hopefully, if it started to decline, we could lower our stop down towards that 99.50.
Brian, thank you so much for sharing your process there and everything. So we want to thank you for those ideas. I wrote them down. So now next time we'll discuss them and we'll see where it goes. And I love
those stops down.
I did. Well, I'll have to rewatch it. I just wrote down the names, but I was actually just going to comment on those stops and just say that I think that's the important thing about what you're talking about, and that is assess the risk. That way you exactly know how many units, you know where your stop is, and you know what sort of the risk to reward is. And here on the show, as I know you watch, and a lot of obviously our traders appreciate that kind of knowledge, and it's like, until you have that stop, for me, you don't even really have an entry. You got to figure out what the risk is and what the reward is, and play it like that. But what a great time we had with you there, Brian. Where can everybody find you? Are you speaking anywhere? You got anything you want to let everybody know about?
No, nothing like that. I mean, X, Twitter is the best place. I provide a lot more detailed analysis each day for Twitter subscribers for $10 a month. So there you have it, Twitter.
Perfect. AlphaTrends. Perfect. That's a great community over there. We want to thank you for showing up one more time at AlphaTrends. It's Brian Shannon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to write those down, Dell, NTAP, and the stops, and we'll talk about it next week. Thank you, Brian.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody.
There he goes. One of the best. I don't think we need to tell anybody that. Brian Shannon, and thank you for going over all of that. And thank you for the questions there about Circle. I mean, I kept on seeing it in there, so wanted to throw that into Brian. And yeah, I knew he was going to say yes. Questions, he always does. So thank you, Brian, for the analysis there. And it means a lot, right? I mean, different ideas, different perspective, and just a successful trader, Brian Shannon. We want to thank him.
Oh, I wanted to ask him about
Too late.
my the scans.
Maybe Brian's still there. I don't know.
I wanted to ask him about because his initial book was technical analysis using multiple time frames, right? And like I was talking about how I do my scans watching the monthly, the weekly, the whatever. I just wanted his advice on how I could potentially be doing it better. But I'll catch him next time for sure.
Yeah, we'll catch him next week, and we'll ask him about that. Or you know what you could do is hit him up on X.
Yeah, for sure.
And ask him about that. So it'll be a good idea right into there. Okay, while that was happening, again, thank you, Brian, for coming through off a couple-week hiatus there. We're glad to have him back. All right, so honestly, man, this is one of those trades where it's kind of like pulling teeth, and it sucks to be in a stock that's really not moving, but I can't control what a stock wants to do. I mean, Rivian up pretty big today. Thought there was going to be a retracement play here. It's fine. We're getting out lower, but this last move down seems to have been it, man. I mean, we got into the 70s again. That's what sort of gave me the short to begin with. We were in the money on our first trade, 10 cents or whatever. Then it just kept on going up until eventually we got stopped out, and then we built it back up, and now it's kind of like just a net game here. We're not really doing anything here with Rivian, so we're going to have to wait for that. If there's anything setting up, and now I use the TQQs, there's something going on with my drop menu, by the way, right now. I'm typing this in, and nothing I'm typing in is even showing up in here. So is that happening to you by any chance?
I don't think I have mine turned on here.
Okay. Anyways, normally it just auto pumps in.
The autofill, yeah.
Yeah, the autofill, good word. There, but not right now. I don't know what's going on there. All right, so just looking here at the 5 minute, forget about the 1 minute for a second. Does this really look like anything to anybody here? Asking for a friend. I don't really see anything happening on a breakdown right now. And I only have, this is a 50 period and a 200 period right now. So this is the steepest one-day drop in 4 years on oil, by the way, which is now closed. So here's the move coming back in right there, 49.50. That's what's happening on TQs. Doesn't really look like there's a top play at all. Not much action happening right now. Even if we break this, not too sure. That's only 20 cents. 40 cents. 40s down there to O's. So it's not getting me going right here on that. That's why we went back and we looked at Tesla. See? Tesla, it's not even dropping that down. Maybe I have to log on and back in. Tesla's not getting me too excited either. We did talk about that 401 area right into here, and then we broke higher, got to the 200, now trying to come back in, but nothing exciting there for me on TSLA. So I'm going to turn it back to you and ask everybody in the chat, what's going on? Oh, there, now NVIDIA works. Okay, that's good. So maybe NVIDIA for a downside play here. That could be a decent break. NVIDIA sort of withstanding VWAP right now. That's not bad. We've only busted up through it here once in the last hour, so that could be something. I'm looking to put on some shares here. I'm looking to do something rather than just dancing here. So if there's anything else, I saw someone in the chat. Shout out to Luis, says, check out Broadcom, maybe a little bit there. Yeah, okay, here we go. Good look. Here we go. I'm actually going to call you up right here. Here it is. Luis, nailed it. There it is. Trending down. We do need to do better on trend. For myself, I shouldn't speak about anybody else, but I know for myself, I need to do better on trend trades. So that's why I actually inputted and started using this 50 period and this 25 period, because I was sort of treating one of these lines there, Obi, either one really, as a trend break. Here's the trend downside, and then it breaks sort of right here, and then you can kind of see, it's not going to be a perfect thing here. And then here's the trend break down again finally, and there's going to be false breaks, but once that break happens, maybe you use prior bottom as sort of your trigger spot, and then the trend continues down here, and we haven't been able to breach that level yet. So until we do, looky what we see here. You did get a little bit of a bump there at 230 that you could have used as a short. I don't think shorting rate here is the right move, but I think, Luis, man, you got horse sense over there and was able to find a great trending down stock, Broadcom, right now. And that looks like a great trade. Would love to have this thing back to 342-ish or so, but not much going on there. Just hearing that XAI has won some sort of a award in Mississippi.
Yeah, they got a permit to build a power plant despite concerns about pollution. I didn't mention it because it's not directly stock related, but because you brought it up, I can finish that headline there.
Yeah. So that's I brought it up for the same reason as what you had just mentioned there. I'd heard it, but not really tradable. XAI, although, you know, talking about merging it with Starlink and then potentially getting a little distracted is the only thing that I can see about why traders would sell Tesla ahead of a potential IPO in this space. But yeah, definitely something to look out for there. New data centers. And tonight, man, I even type in Oracle and it doesn't show up. All right, so Oracle today, nice bump up right now, but that report's coming later. Adara's already got it at Trader TV Research. Get over there, find out her posts all about what to expect and what we're looking for with Larry Ellison and company tonight with Oracle. But, you know, again, I think it's Broadcom might be the one trade that was looking, you know, one of the best there for me as well. Anything that you're looking at?
Yeah, I was just looking at the chat here. So I'll cover a couple of things. You guys know that I was in BNTX this morning here. But first, I'll start off with VWAP Trader asking, Obi, are you still the reversion specialist? Never was. Or have you become something else? Well, you know, well, you know, the thing is, we're always adapting and we're kind of you know, working on the playbook for sure. But no, I still love my reversions. You said, you know, working with trend. I still love working with trend and watching for that trend to change and become distinctly different to kind of make some decisions here. So yeah, no, definitely, I am still very, very much involved with reversions. I guess I haven't really taken that many yesterday and today. It's more scalps, but I do see them happening, and I'm still very much involved with reversions for sure. We'll talk about BNTX right after we get back from Madeira.
I just want to get a little bit more into Oracle because I'm sorry I can't help myself. Sean mentioned this one with earnings, and you guys know me, I have thoughts on Oracle. So I did want to show these infographics on ORCL, which of course I will pump TTV Research. You can find them on X at TTV Research. So as I've mentioned, this cloud, specifically cloud infrastructure segment, is really going to be clear. I think really key. So roughly $8 billion here in cloud infrastructure. That's half of the company's total revenue for last quarter. And the cloud infrastructure revenue is going to be half of the overall cloud revenue. So cloud infrastructure, roughly a quarter of ORCL's overall revenue. And that will be key because that is the sector that has been a little bit in jeopardy lately with regards to these reports over, are they still expanding? And B, I think the other thing here to remember is that this is the segment where they have that massive guidance. Now, last quarter, Oracle's cloud revenue growth was 34%, total revenue growth 14%. So, this is responsible for much of the growth in Oracle. If you see any kind of stall there, that will in fact be significant. Furthermore, I mentioned this a couple minutes ago. We'll bring it up again here, though. ORCL is more than halfway away from making that cloud infrastructure revenue goal for fiscal 2026 of $18 billion. Right now, they've done under $8 billion. They've got more than $10 billion to go. I did the math across their entire history of reporting this in terms of quarterly and sequential growth. There is no statistically significant pattern, which is why I didn't bring one up here. But I did the math. Even if they grow how they've been growing sequentially and year over year for this quarter, it's still dicey whether or not they'll be able to do this 10.55 bill over the next 2 quarters, including the quarter that we get tonight. Rant over. ORCL on watch. Back to you.
Bad little rant over there. We do have a super chat. We want to thank you and thank you for putting this up there. We did miss it just before we went on with Brian Shannon. So PNG is not a symbol. So I don't know what that is. But and if you can explain it, if you mean Procter & Gamble, I don't know. But KRKNF is we believe this is a Canadian company.
PNG's on TSX. That's what it is on TSX.
Okay, you call up, it's on TSX. Okay, PNG.
Kraken Robotics on TSX.
Okay, so PNG here over on, is it on TO or is it on CSE?
I think it's TO.
No, it's
TSXV.
not. TSXV, so, okay, so V. venture. Okay, so here it is, man. PNG, this is Kraken Robotics, man. You might have hit one out here. I really like the robotics trade. I think we've talked about that a little bit here on the show. I'm involved in ARKQ, whatever the robotics name is there, from her. And again, it was, they have everything, man. Kate, Kratos, they have all, Tesla is their #1 holding, I believe, in that as well. I believe there's some Palantir. Anyways, there's a lot of names involved over there. But yeah, you might have got that right there. I don't know if there was a story on this or not. Maybe Adair, you can look it up. It's PNG in Canada. It's called
PNG,
Nancy.
Papa November Golf.
Yeah, Papa November Golf. Yeah, good one. And yeah, it's called Kraken. But yeah, nice move higher.
I can't even find this thing on Benzinga.
Okay, yeah, Benzinga.
Yeah, Benzinga.
All right, so all good. Just right into here. Okay, I really like this name actually there, local. It just, bouncing again, holding the 50-period moving average, holding it again here, holding it again there, now breaking higher. Look, robotics is a thing. It's very popular around here in Toronto. There's a lot of these companies that are sort of popping up. I think you might have hit one right here. Good little look for this name, man. PNG, Kraken Robotics, also on the OTC markets with KRKNF. You got something on this, Adara?
They posted on X 9 hours ago. They're going to be attending or exhibiting at the Oceanology International 2026 at XL London. This is the post. Just thought I'd share it. This came out at 5:46 a.m. today. So they're going to be at this conference from today through Thursday. That is the only news. Like I said, couldn't find this ticker on Benzinga, so I just did my own research through social media. It's also, when I search the ticker, the company comes up, but not any post tagging the ticker. So interesting look here. I think this is what you're talking about here, Kraken Robotics. They're going to be at that Oceanology International exhibit. And that is the news. If there's any news I'm missing on this, please let me know.
Got the story now. Perfect. Makes perfect sense. Those mines. These guys are deep sea right there, right? That was the story. Yeah. So
yeah, sensors and
sensors there. Deep sea sensors is what I saw on that news story. So I think you might have got it right there. Great, thank you for bringing that up. Let's just keep on checking out PNG and Kraken mines, because right into there. That is exactly what we're talking about with the Strait of Hormuz here, dropping down these mines. So someone's going to have to catch the tailwind of that. And it looks like that name might be the one. So thank you so much for bringing that up. I'm actually going to write that down. PNG, maybe a little bit of work to be done on that one. Good little lookout right there. I think that makes a lot of sense. Looking at what and how we can solve this potential problem. New threat, now it looks like, from Iran into the sea there. Okay, so I know oil. So oil has a closing print, and it closes every day. I think it was 2:30 or so. Yeah, there it is. You get the increased volume right there at 2:30, but not closed. I mean, this is opening right here, and it's going. So there we go. Right now, oil starting to bump a little bit. You can see the volume dies off right there, but there was the closing trade in and around 83.50 or so. But here we go again. Oil now starting to move one more time to the upside. Goes CL breaking through, and USO just took out. And I don't know what, see, again, not loading up the name. Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about this, because now we're at 105 on CL, on USO. And this comes right into the last time we had a little bit of a bump up, and that was during the Fugays when we started going all the way to the upside there. And now we've made a move back in. Felt like VWAP hold was pretty awesome there. But now it looks like some upside play right here, bouncing off of 106 right now. AOB, look, I'll ask you this. Yes. Do you have any interest right now in trading USO, or are you going to stay?
Absolutely. I'm gonna continue watching this. I have it. I'm watching it right now. 106 is, if 106 breaks, the high a day is not that far away. We can go check what is the opening range high. 107.53. We're only about $2.50 away from there. So if this does a full-on V-shaped recovery, I did talk about how some of this action down here in the 94s, 95s did smell a little capitulatory.
Well, that's what that was.
Yeah, that's definitely what that was. And then you got some news. You got a news catalyst that kind of confirmed the, if you want to call it that, confirmed the bid. Then, as you mentioned, the VWAP hold was nice as well. So this is a great story that that price action is kind of telling at the same time here. So 106s, 107 halves, not that far away. And if we can get through those, maybe we were looking for that 110 this morning. So maybe we get that going into the last 40 or so minutes of the day here. So yeah, no, I'm definitely watching this USO if there's anything significant. I did kind of play it into VWAP, as you guys can see here. I was like, okay, 106s. You guys, talking about I don't take reversions, bro. I took the reversion from the highs all the way down to VWAP, right? Quick little scalp. Sure, it's not picture perfect. I didn't get the 105 back through or the 104s and some change. But when it comes into 103 halves, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to leave this one alone. Quick reversion back down to VWAP. Good reasons to cover when it holds and doesn't continue lower. So that was a quick little scalp here, and then back up to 104s, 105s on the bounce there. So we'll cover this super chat here. Thank you, Danny boys. I guess we did.
Yeah, we did. I just want to say I have this stock up here, KRKNF. Yeah, it is
on the
robotics,
pink
and we
sheets
talked
there.
about that, right? That's that pink sheet name that we had talked about. So KRKNF. Thank you so much for that. There is another one.
There's another one, yeah.
It is right here. So Neil Zingle. What's up, Neil Zingle? This might be Neil. Just trying to get a question in here. Hey guys, why is TE up 11% today? Well, we'll have to do some, look into that and figure it out. Can't find news. Options call. Walls at 8. Okay, and 850. No earnings data yet. Where is it going? All right, TE. Why don't I know what that symbol is? T1 Energy. Okay, well, I mean, it would make a little bit of sense why it's maybe potentially moving around, as TE is a energy play there, looking like it does make a move to the upside. Why can't you find news on it? 11% up. Yeah, so we'll look for some news. I mean, I can throw this to Adara. I know she has a headline to get to us right now, but yeah, nice little move up there, up 11% potentially on the strength of oil today. I know it's back down right now, but maybe there's something to do with that. But yeah, a little strange because oil's been popping and this name really hasn't been until today. So a good little look there. We got to go over to Adara for some news and then we can try to look at TE.
I just looked into this TE as you were talking, Sean. I'm not seeing anything. Face earnings test. Looks like did they report on? No, this was, I can't even find a publication date for this. So yeah, I'm not sure about TE. I'll look into it. KITT is a name to watch. Kind of similar to that Kraken. It's a subsea mining play, I believe. Now, we heard earlier there was intel suggesting that Iran was preparing to lay these mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Now CNN reporting that yes, in fact, Iran is, or has just begun rather, to lay mines in the Strait of Hormuz. So keep an eye on KITT, that Kraken play, and another play to keep an eye on here would be, of course, USO and other oil takers as USO continues to curl higher to end this, I think, very exciting Tuesday trading session. Back to you.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, good.
Yeah, no, I think those will definitely come into play here. I had to set up my, my pink sheet keys there. I didn't have my buys and sells on. But, yeah, take a look at some.
I was going to say this stock. I have my key set up for trading over here on the pink sheets, but yeah, volume don't lie, and so right into there, this is going to be one of those plays. That's amazing that we had one of our viewers there mention it, and yeah, that was a great call, man. 7 and change going higher, and I was going to say even before all of this, it was already. I was looking at it just as a normal play here. Not really that choppy, man. I mean, pullbacks, yes, but, really orderly here as well. KRKNF, man, you heard it here first on Trader TV Live, and we want to thank everybody for pumping the tires of this stock a little bit here, because I do think there is something about that right now as USO, man, just continues to go higher here. Oh, man, higher into 106. We just took out that recent level there of strength or of support. And now we'll wait to see it was resistance. We'll see if it can turn into support here around 106. But it looks like for now we're actually not breaking that very top. So that's literally 106 and change. So that should have nothing to do with a physical price of USO. It's just going to follow crude. So we'll have to see what that's doing. But yeah, it's pretty much a 1-to-1 as far as the relationship goes, but the pricing is going to be different. So that's 106. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a fade now back in on that. Oops. Let's close the chart. That's okay. All right, let me go back over. Obi, if you want to take this, I'm just going to get that chart back up.
Yeah, for sure. That 106 is potentially coming in here. I guess more news kind of confluencing with a potential bid here. But yeah, for me, it's just it's a continuation of that reversion that happened off of that 94, which is coming in quite nicely here. 106 breakout definitely can easily take us towards those high of days. Definitely increases the probability for me. So I'm watching that very closely. 105 halves as of right now here on USO. I did pull up KIT because I was like, okay, well, this one actually trades on the Nasdaq. I kind of like it a little bit better. We had that $1 break, holding that $1 as of right now with a high of, what is this, $1.23, and it's done about 41 million shares, almost 42 million shares, but the market not looking the same here, pulling back into its lows. So both the Nasdaq and the ES, more than a 50% retracement of the bid that we got off of, I guess, during the morning session there at around 10:30. Let's see how some of these megs are doing. We talked about how Microsoft was kind of, relatively weak here. It was at VWAP while we were pushing these highs at 52.2s on the Nasdaq. How much further off of VWAP did we get? Not that far. Didn't even retrace to some of its opening prices right there, and then pulling right back in below that VWAP. So Microsoft continuing to show that relative weakness here. Tesla's just been kind of a choppy range all day, tries to break out through its opening range highs, tries to break down on that flush, pulls right back in. But yeah, relative weakness for sure. Apple is the one, Sean, that is holding up quite well. Strong push, more in line, I guess, slightly more in line with the move on the bid in the market, but pulls back. OPTT.
Yeah, I just looked it up. We did have
let's take a quick look at OPTT.
Yeah, someone on the chat there mentioned it. I think you might have got another one there, as that's popping to 50 cents right now.
Okay, so yeah, Ocean Power Technology. You know, I got to make a list of these because they could have multi-day moves, right?
Yep.
Multi-day moves on these. So.
I really feel like you guys are all, in here with us, at a great time. I mean, trying to catch some of this news stories right here, right now, before they even start and get going. But, definitely check out some of the volume spikes. Here we go, we're writing it down right now on that. And I think it's very easy to scan for those volume spikes in the name. Bless you, Fabian, over there. But, all right, so just Rivian, we almost stopped out there breaking through 95. It does not happen. Comes right back in. We get another 82 fill or 83 fill. And now we just sit around and wait to see what exactly Rivian's going to be all about here. And maybe lower, maybe not. So whatever on that one. Let's go find out who made money yesterday. Money. Right, so Obi and I sit here at Real Trading. You guys can go check it out, realtrading.com. It's the same company I've been with for 25 plus years. The #1 prop firm in the nation. And of course, we are located here in lovely Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You guys have maybe seen Luis Barbado come through. He has a Real Trading office in Barcelona. Unfortunately, you won't be able to trade under the same platform as us if you are in the United States. But everywhere else, go check it out, realtrading.com. Over 60 plus real-time markets. And last time we did this, the numbers were unbelievable on the Amex side of things. Little birdie did tell me that they got waxed the very next day. So I don't know if some of that money came back. That's the thing. Sometimes when you hit a trade, you got to sort of kind of go back to it. I just hope that they didn't lose as much as they had made. I think that goes without saying there as well. But sometimes that can happen, of course. But okay, yesterday, right here, right now. Oh, Canada. We had someone in Canada just crushed it there, $34,000 there in the Canadian market. So who knows what that was? Could have it been PNG? Could have it been something over there? Canadian banks? I don't know. Someone in Hong Kong, man. I don't remember the last time we saw that name, that exchange, on here as well. 17 grand, maybe. Was there an IPO or something in Hong Kong yesterday? Amex, so that would make sense, obviously, as we... that could have been you yesterday there. The way we traded oil, we had a great move. Me and Obi just slightly under that number yesterday. Okay, and then we had New York, and then someone yesterday, Amex, Nasdaq. Of course, if we were slightly under that, we would be on this list right there. Amex, Nasdaq, Nasdaq. Wow. Some of you Americans might not like this, but I mean, boom, 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 boom. A lot of Canadian names, exchanges on here, but also a little mix as well. So thank you for putting up with us there and going over some of those plays. And I don't know what they were, but it makes sense that Amex was there. We saw that oil play, silver continues.
I'm surprised Amex wasn't the top.
Me too. I don't know what was going on in Canada.
What are these guys doing, man? Give me some of that buying power.
Okay. There are tons of oil names in Canada.
For sure.
Oil ETFs, like we are literally a nation of gold and oil. We have Raheem on here, mining and all that. So it would make sense that somebody made a play. CNBC. CNBC announcing an Anthropic IPO within the next year. So womp womp, not imminent, but look, my charts, there you go, change to Amazon. Not doing anything, but interesting story, needless to say there, as we all, I think, would get excited for an Anthropic IPO. I mean, you want to talk about waiting for something to happen. I mean, Anthropic would be awesome. Starlink would be amazing. OpenAI would be stupendous. Any other words we can throw around here? But I think that these are the IPOs when we're talking about pay me tomorrow at 1.3 billion. I can't even imagine what Amazon and Anthropic, Amazon's as an investor there in Anthropic. I'm not even sure what those levels would look like once that stock opens up and we see the pricing. And we saw Circle go from $70 to $310. Like, what do you think is going to happen once Anthropic, someone decides to short it and then they get blown out on that? Who knows how far that's going to go upside. But there it is. So Amazon right now not really having too much of effect, but that's kind of cool, man. We like to hear that there is some more money floating around for the IPO space. We had an announcement today from Bill Ackman, of course, with Pershing Square. We'll see if that one can come through this year as well. That is coming through. They filed. So that's literally, I would probably say 2 weeks. I don't know how long generally that will take, but they already have the symbol and everything. So Bill Ackman's Pershing Square coming to an exchange near you. We just got out a little bit more there. We'll see if Rivian wants to flush. Yes?
Sorry, I just looked this up to confirm it, but he's filed and pulled it with days to go before. So Bill Ackman filing does not necessarily guarantee we get an IPO, because I was pretty sure this was a thing. I just looked it up to clarify. Yeah, he has filed and then pulled it before.
So are you at like 80-20, he'll keep it? Are you at 90-10, he'll keep it?
I'm at 100% Bill Ackman likes the drama. So I'm going to wait to see what happens. Wait, have you guys seen his X posts?
Yeah,
this man announced that he was long Uber by mentioning Edward Norton. Like, you didn't need to do that. You could have just said you were long Uber. So I think whatever he does, I'm sure it will have a very long X post. Like, he said it himself, he wants to be the next Warren Buffett. He wants Pershing to be the next Berkshire. Whatever he thinks is the right path to do it, I think he'll do it. And I think he'll adapt as he needs to. That's my opinion. I'm not going to stake anything on what I think this man will do. What are your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, I didn't actually know that he had them a couple times before and then pulled it. So, yeah, I'll go with you and say, like, you know what, if you can get money out of the capital markets to build up your business, I think it's a good decision. I mean, especially, I didn't even know that he had those aspirations of the Oracle of Omaha there. I know I thought you were going to go, isn't he very, very political? Like, he has a lot of views on this Israeli and the United States and all this involvement as well. So so I wonder if that hurts his chances a little bit on Wall Street, could help them. I don't know. But anyways, just keeping that all out of it, yeah, I would say yeah. And, you know, if the interest is there, I said earlier that that's not something that I'd be loving to get involved with. But, I mean, you know, been worse people to follow than Bill Ackman. I mean, we had that sort of stat earlier this morning when Brendan sort of called it up there, and it was quite a return versus the S&P 500. I don't know if it was double or triple, whatever it was, but you really saw a nice move up. And we do know that Amazon's a holding of his, Uber's a holding of his, and I believe Google are big holdings there for Pershing Square. But yeah, very interesting there as we go. I wanted to talk about the ARK. Was it Q? Was the autonomous and robotics. So this is another one. Some traders were asking about that when I mentioned it there before. We had bought this a while ago. I think it was when Trump was, they announced some sort of a robotics bill or something like that. And we did have a nice move to the high side. It is coming back in a little bit. This has Kratos, KTOS, AVAV in it, Tesla. You can go look it up, but ARKQ, I believe, is a great ETF. I just looked at the names. You're gonna have to pay the management fee to Aunt Kathy, but you know, good name and not really very, it's liquid here, but as far as a day trade, not the greatest tool there for us. But I do like that. And I think, honestly, man, if you're going to talk about robotics, you're going to talk about like the next thing. I mean, Google's still here and still in the building and saying, hey, here I am. So, you know, quantum computing, Waymo, you know, whatever, Google's there, man. And I really like this stock. I was waiting for 280. I really hope that 280 wasn't real, but maybe it was. I am going to put an infamous Neil stink bid on this, as he calls them. He got stunk bid on CrowdStrike when it filled him at 400. Then it went all the way down to 340, and now it's back over 400. And sometimes those little fills that you get at key levels turn out to be some of the best ones. So yeah, maybe we'll do that a little bit on Google. That's one of the plays that I really like for the long term.
Yeah, no, same. I think that Google, again, the strength that Google has been having just over this week and the past couple of months as well, I think kind of speaks to itself. Absolute strength this week as well. We saw how strong it was. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday here.
Yeah, took off at the end of the
KIT
day.
coming right back in as well. So great reversion on that one, I guess. Pulling right back in, back through $1 right there on KITT. So yeah, I expect these to kind of digest some of this news here. Again, a lot of this is going to be speculation, right? It's just like, okay, cool. These underwater sensors, submarines, whatever, these stocks that might have some technology to do with that are going to catch like a hype bid. And yeah, you know what? I definitely have to be ready to get on the backside of some of these moves if they show a lack of continuation. This is a great example of that here on KIT. I don't know how Kraken's doing, but we'll be right back from Madeira.
Keep an eye here on ZM with that Anthropic story. I know you guys mentioned that, and apologies if you mentioned the Zoom connection as well, because I was in the bathroom, but CNBC reporting a potential Anthropic IPO within the next year. Now, Zoom, you may remember, is actually heavily invested in Anthropic as of late January 2026. If you guys remember, it had that epic one-day rally. That's because it's Anthropic position was at the time, and again, the time we're talking about is late January 2026, it was estimated to be valued at $2 billion. So Zoom, with a roughly $2 billion investment value in Anthropic, could be a beneficiary or at least a stock to watch should Anthropic announce anything more concrete with this IPO. Back to you.
Yeah, ding, good talk there. I mean, that's exactly what we want to look for, is how to potentially get invested in some of these IPOs. There's DXYZ. Yeah. That was one to get invested with as well as Starlink and some of those Destiny there getting. Wasn't there also, didn't Robinhood's Public Markets or, what's it called? Robinhood Venture. Got released. I think that's up and running now, so it'll be interesting to hear how they play in this space.
There's definitely something on oil now. We got a hard spike. I should have had some offers over at 107s because we're cracking absolutely crazy all the way back to the downside. Wow, look at that. Definitely. I guess I did size a little appropriately for this one here as it's slapping right back down. Oh my God. Okay, so
there's $1. Yeah, rate downside
right here. 105s. Yeah, I took $1 loss on that one.
So I just heard, and I think it's what we already talked about. I already said this already, and it was like, Trump's not going to like this. And I just seeing on the news now, President Trump saying that if Iran's going to put these mines in there, then they're going to have to remove them immediately. So I mean. Obviously, I would think that would have been the response from President Trump. But as you're still in that trade, I'll let you.
I took off a good.
Okay, good. I was gonna say I'll let you deal with it. And unfortunately, that is, And look, don't feel bad for us either if we lose on these trades. We are very aware that this is a very much a news-based environment right now. So good on us or Obi for looking at that. But right now it does look like oil and US. So we'll go to oil itself right now just to see what that's doing. $86. Looks like not that much of a drop, man. Oil, Obi, just in case you're wondering, only dropped about like 75 cents there. Yeah. And it's making its way back up right now. So here we come right back to the upside now. He's just saying if there was no mines removed, military consequences will be at a level never seen before. So, okay, that would be good for oil. So I think that that's a positive there, and I hope this does wind up coming back upside for you because, again, like that I don't think Iran's going to remove them. Why would they threaten to put them there just to get Trump to say that? I mean, I sort of think like that is the response to expect from President Trump. So I don't really know if this is a needle mover or not, but you can see volume only really picked up on that story, and it's now kind of just getting back to normality here on volume. I know we're focusing a lot on on oil, but really the silver trade maybe has been forgotten a little bit. It's not moving around horribly. Let's go to Adara for the story, and then we'll talk about silver, which also had a pretty dramatic move there around 2 o'clock.
I'll just read the post for those who are interested. If Iran has placed any mines in the Hormuz Strait, and we have no reports that they have, they must be removed immediately. Failure to do so will bring military consequences, the likes of which have never been seen. If they remove them, it will be a giant step in the right direction. Now, if you notice me chortle there, the reason I chortled is not because of the post, but because of the fact that he said that there are no reports suggesting that Iran has placed mines in the Strait of Hormuz. We know that U.S. intel reportedly told CBS, going back to like 2:30 p.m. Eastern, that they were already planning on doing so. So U.S. military intel already suggested they were going to do this before CNN reported like 20 minutes ago that they had actually begun the act of placing them. So that's the Trump post, and that's my context for said Trump post. Back to you.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much as expected there from President Trump and as anyone would expect him to do, right? I mean, he's going to try to protect the prices of oil. He's already mentioned that he wants to get oil prices down, so any threat to oil tankers would be a problem for the price of oil. That would create oil going higher. So just quickly here on silver, and then we'll get back to the oil trade. Oil right now is not doing anything. It's at 105 is USO. So, but anyways, silver with the move down there, nice little volume there around 2 o'clock as we have that move back in. And we could have seen a strong dollar at that time as we had oil drop down on that story that there was tankers going through the strait. That is apparently not happening. And that created silver with a nice little move there. And now silver's just hovering. If you're looking at a little bit of a longer time frame here, a 5-minute chart, this looks pretty toppy to me right now and coming back in. So I think this looks like a good short. 50 period turning around. It's already 345, so we got to close up shop here in a minute. But nice little move to the downside as we get ready for Oracle coming out. And just to go back to oil, you're going to see OB over here actually trading USO. But as you can see, this looks like, this still shows silver. Our charts right now, something's going on with me anyways. Maybe I need to log out and back in. But yeah, there it is, holding out okay for right now. Bouncing off the 50-period moving average and trying to inch just a little bit higher is oil for now. So yeah, good little look. We'll just see if it wants to continue to have a move now, down 8%. And we can quickly have a look as... I don't know if you want to talk about your position. I have no idea what you're doing.
The thing is, like that selling got absorbed pretty nicely. I did kind of take a whack on I had 106 24s there. I took a whack on part of the position there. I was like, all right, cool. I did see it come into that 107, but getting bought right back up. So that's selling a little bit of a continuation from the bid that we've.
Okay, here we go.
Having there, so we got a super chat here. Bye.
Yeah. I know you're in position, so I can look at all this stuff as well. Hi there. Any opinion? Okay, so I don't know anybody around here that has an opinion on Oracle. So yeah, so I don't really know who to ask. But
nice.
Hold on a second. Darren, I'm going to read the question first here. Holding a decent-sized position and somewhat concerned about today's earnings release. Okay, so I was just going to say I know Adara has an opinion. I'm going to go to her now to see how she feels about it. But also your TTV research page. I want to direct everybody to that. So yeah, I think there should be nervous hands about Oracle today. How about you?
So I said this to somebody in the chat. Shout out to T. Giovanna in the chat who was asking me my thoughts on Oracle. And I said, like, I honestly think, because they've posted 2 revenue misses in a row. If they beat on revenue this quarter, I genuinely believe it will gap up because I think investors are so excited and, dare I say, desperate for this thing to have some kind of revenue win because, again, we've gone 2 quarters without one. I think if they get any kind of win on revenue, I think investors will be excited. Now, I should point out that I am bearish on this one from a fundamental standpoint. I don't have any skin in the game, like monetarily. This is just a thesis that I've spent a lot of time researching and that I have a lot of, work behind. So I want to put that out there as well. But I mean, that being said, like, I think one report is not going to change my longer term thesis. I think like I said, I do think this can gap up, but I think what I want to see, like if I were to change my thesis from short to long, what I would need to see in all honesty is like actual maybe a revenue beat, though 1 quarter revenue beat's not going to be enough for me. And B, I want to see growth in sectors beyond that cloud segment, specifically cloud infrastructure, because the hill they're trying to die on right now is remaining performance obligations and cloud infrastructure revenue. That is not enough for one company to be living on, in my humble opinion. So those are the areas I'm looking for. From a technical standpoint, I don't really want to get involved just because, like I said, I think my standpoint in this is so fundamental. But thank you, Sean, and everybody for letting me rant on Oracle so many times today. And I do apologize because you're going to hear more rants about it tomorrow when we get the numbers.
Thanks, Adara, for that one.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to go to FinViz quickly here because I just saw an Oracle short number that I don't believe. So I'm going to call this
Short
up.
float. Yeah, it has a little bit of a short float.
What do you think it would be?
I think it was like 20-30%.
What? You think it's that high?
Maybe.
Oh, you're right, according to Benzinga. I had no idea Oracle short float was this high. Now, where in the heck does it show it on here? Are we alphabetical here? There it is. Short. Nah, there it is right here.
2%?
Yeah, 2%. Yeah, that makes sense. I did not. Benzinga, unless I'm just not reading this right, Benzinga has it at 30%. That cannot be right. There's no way a major name like this is short 30%. Maybe you guys can find that wrong or not. But I actually agree with Adara here on what we're looking at with Oracle tonight. And I think that there could be regardless of the numbers, I really think we could shoot up there because those remaining performance obligations there will be there again. It's just a matter of the funding. They released their bonds already, and you know it'd be interesting to see maybe what their balance sheet looks like after all of this. And I would say, like you'd mentioned, maybe being in calls. I assume they're going to be expensive, man. Oracle's been chopped down by a third as well from not a third, but from 350 down to 150. So take 200 off its name right there. I actually think in this environment, there's a potential for Oracle to go a lot lower than where we are right now. So I would say, honestly, Oracle could have, I don't want to say this is a 40% down move or anything, but where will people wind up buying this? That's a level right there of 125. I actually think there's a chance we go lower. So it would be obviously insider trading if I knew anything about it, which I don't, but I would just say you've definitely nailed it with thinking that Oracle's going to have a move tonight, and get ready for that one almost immediately, I believe, at 4 o'clock. I'll double check that number. All right, so here we go, man. The imbalances are now out. We are still in Rivian, and we go, oh yeah, baby. Look what's happening to Rivian right now. Where's all my Rivian haters at, by the way? I'm not sure where they're at anymore right here, but it's a nice move to the downside. Okay, we'll take it. My bad for shorting Rivian. There goes Nvidia. Look,
Nvidia.
See a Rivian right now to the downside. The whole market's bleeding just a bit. Nice hold on USO. I see that's back above 106. Congratulations on that hold for now. A firm downside. Fossil. They're still around. Is that the watchmaker?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
I'm probably not around for very long. $3 there. Nvidia. I don't know what we're all lit over here. A-lit. That's something's happening with that one under $1. It's only 2 million shares. I'm going to puff pass on that. Done 88 million shares on the day. Other than that, man, a firm rig, Transocean could be a play today. Oh, I just saw my friend SoFi, which used to be a friend of mine and not so much anymore. Hey, we didn't have Mitch on. I don't know if is he coming on? Normally he's on Tuesday mornings. Maybe he's on tomorrow.
I think he did Thursday last week.
Okay, whatever. I want to ask Mitch about, just because Adara's probably exactly right. I wanted to ask him, I'll mention to Brendan, or maybe he can come over, but I want to ask him about SoFi because this name continues to bleed downside as well. So SoFi getting hit right now. And again, guys, I really do apologize for giving you guys the Rivian short. It does not seem to be working out very well. But there it is, Rivian right now, nice downside play. And yeah, I mean, we did get stopped out a little bit there. We didn't get stopped out of it all because we didn't break the 200 period. I'm not, here we actually had our stop up at 95, which does not break, luckily. And then here's the flush down on Rivian. I'm just playing around. We didn't make that much money on it. This was just a play that's now finally starting to work out. Rivian, obviously wish we had a bunch more on it. So yeah. Funny guy over there, Brendo. But all right, so we're going to, what day, Brendan, is it? Thursday, he's right. So Brendan just said, yep, we can talk to Mitch, and we will be doing that. So get your questions ready for him. I'll ask him that on Thursday, as will Obi, as will the whole team. But I do want to make sure we talk about SoFi there. So yeah, man, good trading there. What's your plan here with USO? Now you're nicely in the money over there.
I mean, yeah, I'm watching. I definitely coulda, shoulda, woulda added some more there on the pullback in because you know, taking the beating on the initial, I guess a decent chunk there, but adding back into that 105 reclaim. I like this. We're trading back above this 106. We kind of pinged that 107. I got to go back to a shorter, like a second chart or something to see how fast that one was because I saw it at like 106 halves or something like that and then slapped down from 107s all the way to 104s. I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't necessarily be in here. Again, news risk there. Get a little, I wouldn't say a little slipped, but definitely a little slipped on that 105 back through. But I think I did well to kind of get back in when I saw that selling just got absorbed. Back above 106s as of right now, but anything could change. Only about a few more minutes left, so I'm probably just gonna piece off in and around this 106. There's not really much left on the table when it comes to, I guess, the intraday part of it. There it goes back below.
I have some sad news, but not really that sad. So please do not brace yourself for incredibly sad news. But Wyerton Willie apparently has passed away. That's the who's that? Yes, he's what I mean. He's the famous not a hedgehog. What are those guys that come out and they see their shadows?
Oh, the groundhog.
Groundhog's hedgehog. We're playing Sega Genesis over here. We're playing Sega Genesis over here. Right there, but
the Sonic movies.
Anyways, yeah, Marissa just let me know about that, and I said sad face emoji. You know, like I typed in sad face emoji and just hit enter. I thought I was gonna do it, but instead it just typed sad face emoji there to her. So that's sad. But anyways, what? Isn't there Puxatony Phil? You heard? Yeah. So he's taking it over, man. That's hilarious. I don't know if my wife is watching this. Look what she just put in here. Dead rodent emoji. Oh, that's hilarious. She's ruthless over there. But there it goes, man. Yeah, but then she says also rest in peace. And we always talk about that. I always like to see what's going on with that. It's just a fun thing. I think Wyerton Willie predicted like 50 of the 100 moves there. So about 50-50.
So he's just as good as the average trader there. About 50% of the time, yeah.
Much better than the average trader. Way better than the average trader over there. Groundhog Day. Great movie. You seen that with Bill Murray?
I think so, yeah. That's the one where he like wakes up and tries to, do this.
Every day is the same thing over and over again.
I was going to ask you, what do you think about the Sonic movies?
I never watched one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
I think they're pretty good though, from what I hear.
I've heard.
Why my kids aren't into that, man? It's funny because Marissa just also messaged me today and said, "When's that new Mario coming out?" And that's apparently April 1st. That's probably
that's another movie I haven't watched.
Probably a fun one to see in the theater. I mean, it's not. Those ones are like pure kids movies. I feel like, but Jack Black is hilarious as Bowser. I don't know if you've heard. If you guys, we're gonna get dinged if I play a song, but the song Peaches. Go look that up. Get it on Spotify. Get it on YouTube. It's Jack Black, Peaches, right there. Real funny, stupid song actually. All right, so just waiting here to see if we do get a little bit of a push down for Rivian. Psych, we already got it. We'll go to 16. We'll go to 1652. See if we get a fill on the downside right there for Rivian. And just to close out the day, man, we can have a quick little look at the imbalances. As I see you're out of that oil trade, so that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's not doing much around 106. I was looking for it to get past this 106 half so I can maybe even get a little bit more aggressive for the 107 push, but not really happening as of right now. You know, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll definitely, you know, I can't complain. So literally almost every other trade I've taken on this USO pretty much went right away. Funny enough, I take a long. All of them have been shorts. Funny enough, I take the long, I flip long, and I get slapped on the long as if the market's just like, you know,
what are you doing?
Stick to reverting the bid, especially on what seems to be so far a little bit of the backside of the move here. But yeah, no. So definitely was it 1, 2, 3 scalps, 4 scalps, and then I guess the fifth one not really working out too well. But again, I was definitely not anywhere nearly sized as aggressive on the long as I was on some of these shorts. So you know, it all works out in the end there. 106 is back through, but I think, yeah, pretty much done for now. Not really seeing anything too crazy on these here imbalances. Nvidia came in with a buy. Nvidia's actually catching a bit of a bid as of right now. So let's take a quick look at that one. So I guess this one might have been the one to participate in. Where is 50 right here? So Nvidia was a bid to start off with. Okay, so yeah, this is the one right here. So Nvidia coming in with, I'll pull this in, a 1.4, and this actually stuck. This was more, and some of it got paired off, but I guess not all of it, and we get that continuation all the way back up into VWAP for, I guess, a 0.66 move back towards VWAP from 183s to 184s and some change here on Nvidia on a buy imbalance on a day where, yeah, take a look at the futures. We've been selling off pretty aggressively since about 1:30, and today there's a lot of news-driven price action, a lot of fugazi for sure. They talked about the ship, and then they pulled that, and then they talked about the mines, and I guess the president's just like, there's no report of any mines being set down. I'm just like, all right, cool. So you know what, you got to be quick on the keys for this one. So it's not really like a level-to-level, position-to-position. You just got to be quick on your feet. And roll with the punches, I guess, in this here market. So interesting, the level of fugazi and some of the news being released by what seems like legitimate sources. So,
I mean, if you're a position of power, importance, something like that, you should really be figuring out what you're tweeting, and you shouldn't have to pull it out.
Maybe they just do it on purpose. So, tinfoil hat, tinfoil suit. I don't know. I definitely.
Hey man, I've been saying this market has a rigged feel to it for a very, very long time.
Got to get good at playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're getting better and better and better and betterer as well. There was something I wanted to say, and now I can't remember what it was. Probably a good thing. Oh, what time do we expect Oracle, Adara? Do you know?
4:05 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. 4:05 p.m. So that should be a good one to see what's going on over there tonight. Oh, that's what it was. Bill Ackman's IPO value, $10 billion.
10 billion.
Looking at, I just saw it on the newswire there. Yeah, Bill Ackman's files for a 10 billion IPO. So that should be exciting. All right, tomorrow's trade today. What about Rivian, man? I mean, Rivian today was supposed to be the belle of the ball, wasn't it? I mean, everybody was super excited about Rivian. Got up to 1750. Now it's closing at 1650. And yeah, man, I mean, I don't know, right back into the day's low or pre-market lows. Just before the market opened up, we sort of really ripped. And since then, man, it's just been faded. I think this is a short again tomorrow. I wouldn't buy this dip or try to hold this overnight to see it's going to be a rebound type of day. I just don't see it. This happens to Rivian all of the time, and we've seen it many times. Like there's the wick candle there, the very next day downside. What a surprise. It almost looks identical right there at the 50-period moving average, downside, at the 50-period moving average, downside. Tomorrow's trade today brought to you by myself and Rivian right here. 4 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. And that is all that she wrote. And what a good day it had been here for us. Ooh, some sort of a tab is making my browser slow. Okay, so just to go over some of the markets here today, we did have the Qs, right? Not a bad day. Well, actually, my bad, ends zeros. We did have a pretty good day to start with as we really took off there just after 9:30, 10 o'clock, the market made new moves, then made a high at 1 o'clock. And since then, now we get, remember what we said, man, it's like ask questions later, man, shoot first. Empty out the sort of the clip per se on your holdings and then worry about what Trump's gonna say now about sort of these C-bombs. I don't know how else to talk about them. Not mines. That's what it was. The SPY as well, the ES, they took it a little bit more on the chin today as energy's been a play. We talked about the bank names as well. Some of the components not involved in the Nasdaq, right? Nvidia still turned out okay. A nice downside move there on the SPY. We're going to look at the diamonds here and the Dow Jones and just see what they wound up doing as well. Right there, looks like they're down 0.15, if that's accurate. I think it probably is. No, flat there on the diamonds as well. And then one more before we go, the IWM, something that we always look at as well. They were, I apologize how long this is taking. That still shows diamonds down 0.14. And then a quick check on oil, and then we'll get out of here. Right now, oil up at the end of the day, but still down that 9.3%. So, yeah, you know, pretty aggressive day, I think. Needless to say, man, good trading there near the end on oil. We'll wait to see if we can get some more news on that later. Good trades in the middle of the day. I think we're a little bit better there
those were
on oil. When you're playing the news, man, you got to really be careful about what the stories are. So, anyways, yeah, good day. Obi, promise me you'll be back tomorrow.
For sure.
All right, Neil, we say, hope he's enjoying his time, obviously, there down in Dunedin. So if you happen to be in Dunedin, Florida, go find Neil, and he'll buy you a beer, okay? And he might even buy you a pretzel.
One for each of us.
Yeah. Well, tell him Obi sent you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we'll get that covered. So make sure you check him out, and we say, enjoy, Neil. And he messaged me today and said the weather was gorgeous there in lovely Florida, Dunedin, Florida, checking the Blue Jays spring training. I know you haven't been watching it, but that World Baseball Classic has been pretty fun, man. Like watching Dominican Republic play and the fans and how hyped they are. And congratulations, the U.S. yesterday took down Mexico. So that was a good game. Canada struggling. I think they're 1-1, Canada maybe right now, looking to get into the playoff, the elimination round. So Cuba's in our division, and they've already clinched. So we'll wait to see if we can get join the United States in the next round of the World Baseball Classic. All right, it should be exciting, man. We will see everybody tomorrow. So again, great job there today. Obi, thanks for coming through. He'll be back tomorrow. It's always a blast to say thank you to Andre and Fabian as they continue to work hard. And Adara, I mean, minutes away now from Oracle. That should be exciting. Make sure you follow at Trader TV Research. It'll all be posted up right there immediately upon that release. Thanks, Brendan, and thanks, Mark, for stopping by today. Mark O'Keefe from ICE. And then we want to say a big shout out to Brian Shannon as well. So, all right, we're done. We will see everybody tomorrow at 8 o'clock, where I guarantee you USO will not be at 106. It'll be different than that, and we'll see. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. bright and early. Have a great evening.